Hello, I'm James Henry, and this is day 4 of Holy Week, the weekdays, Thursday. I considered that today's reading, it would make sense perhaps to light a candle, like you might at a dinner. But in any case, for each one of the days this week, we've been doing Lectio Divina. And if you don't know what Lectio Divina, that's all right. It's sacred reading. And the sacred reading, the way we do sacred reading is we set aside any assumptions we've made about a text or what it says, and we try to listen with fresh ears of our heart, and look for in the text the ways it might speak to us now, that Spirit might be trying to speak into our life, something we need to hear in this very moment. We've been doing that each of the other 3 days of this week, and it seemed like we would continue. And that's what we'll do today. And then tomorrow, Good Friday, we'll do the same. So we're going to listen to Lily. Lily is going to read for us our passage from Luke chapter 22.
When the time came, Jesus took his place at the table, and the apostles joined him. He said to them, "I have earnestly desired to eat this Passover with you before I suffer. I tell you, I won't eat it until it is fulfilled in God's kingdom." After taking a cup and giving thanks, he said, "Take this and share it among yourselves. I tell you that from now on, I won't drink from the fruit of the vine until God's kingdom has come." After taking the bread and giving thanks, he broke it and gave it to them, saying, "This is my body, which is given for you. Do this in remembrance of me." In the same way, he took the cup after the meal and said, "This cup is the new covenant by my blood, which is poured out for you. But look, my betrayer is with me. His hand is on this table. The human one goes just as it has been determined. But how terrible it is for that person who betrays him." They began to argue among themselves about which of them it could possibly be who would do this.
There's a lot there, as there is in every text. And so if you want to pause right now to do your own reflections, I encourage you to do that exact thing. But otherwise, I'm going to note what I heard rising for me, the word, the image, the phrase that rose for me. And it's interestingly enough, I don't know if it's because we just talked about Judas yesterday or not, but what was rising for me is the fact that even Judas was at the table, that even the betrayer, I like to point out, the betrayer, the denier, and the abandoners, which is pretty much most of the people at that table, who leave Jesus to his fate. But the betrayer is welcome at the table. He is invited to share the cup and the bread. He is invited to be a part of it. And I wonder if sometimes I haven't made a decision in advance of someone who doesn't belong at my table, in my hospitable place. I'm not talking about at St. James on a Sunday morning or any other time for communion. I'm really talking about my own personal table, and my own hospitality of making room for people, and how Judas was even at that last meal, was welcomed at that last meal. That makes me wonder if some of my predetermination doesn't keep people from sharing what is meant to be shared by me and by others, perhaps. So as I was thinking about it, that's what rose for me, the image of everyone's welcome at the table and not turning anyone away. And I do think of it as the communion table, but I think of the table also in a more larger metaphorical way where everyone is welcome at that table. No matter who I might think doesn't belong or doesn't get a pass, doesn't get invited, no matter who I feel ought not to be at the table, as if I get to be the judge. Jesus welcomed Judas. And despite all of the judgment-related language that was a part of that passage as I listened to it, what really rose for me is that Judas was at the table. So I'm going to look at ways that I might exclude people that perhaps for one reason or another ought to be included, that I have missed out on, who may see the world differently than I do, but who deserve my hospitality and welcome. That's what I heard in the text. I don't know what you heard. I encourage you, my friends, to spend some time yourself doing that reflection, see what it brings you. So until tomorrow, Friday, when we'll have our last noontime reflection, I wish you all the very best. Remember, you are infinitely precious and unconditionally loved for the gift you already are.